Hey everybody, welcome back to JOECMDRAWZ. Got a new video for you today, and this time instead of making a Mega Revolution for a Pokemon that I think is pretty underrated or not very well liked or not very used, I thought I would create my very first G-Max form. Now I love Gigantamax forms like Gigantamax Venusaur, Charizard, Blastoise, a lot of the really cool ones, I really do like them. Corviknight's really another cool one. Um, but I wanted to give a Gmax form to a Pokemon that isn't very well liked or used, and that has been kind of like underrated. It was also the subject of Forceweb Gaming's newest video, which I quite like watching them, which is Electrode. And now I like Electrode. He's very cartoony, very goofy, and I just think it's a really funny idea. And so I wanted to give it something a really legitimately cool idea, and make use of its explosive power. So I wanted to create a Gigantamax electrode. So I'll start off with these kind of like sketches here. I sketched in red because I know a lot of the Gmax forms, they have like a red outline on their concept art, which is really interesting, obviously because of the Gigantamax energy that surrounds them. So these are the first kind of like couple of sketches I had, because in my head, my idea was that Electrode, when it grows in size, it kind of like creates copies inside of itself, kind of almost like a Matryoshka doll or a babushka doll, which is a pretty cool idea of, and this would also like increase its like explosive power, and it would reveal when it Gigantamaxes, it would like float in the air, and it would reveal its kind of like magnetic core. Um, so you can see in these sketches here that it still very much looks like Electrode, but it's still got like another Electrode inside of it with another Electrode inside of it, and then reveals the core, and it's still got like Electrode's kind of cheeky grin here, cheeky smile. Um, I did make like like it laid 3 times, and I thought, that's a bit much, but it's good to kind of like figure out what you're doing, um, first of all. But I really do like these sketches. I think they're really, really cool. I tried like stretching and the kind of perspective here as well, trying to make it look a lot bigger, because obviously Gigantamax forms are huge, so I wanted to make them look as big as possible. But I think I really overstretched it, and it doesn't really look that great. But that's these just initial sketches. If I just hide them, I've got these sketches here. Um, like I said, I made some more, and I was thinking this one looks pretty good, but the core in here is too big. It's too big on powers here, so I created another copy, and I obviously shrunk the core down, which looks a lot better. And then I've also given Electrode a more cheeky kind of like grin here, which looks really, really funny. And I've also sketched out here as if it's actually in mid-explosion. So it's kind of like opened its top, it's opened, reveals its core, and it's kind of like just exploding like all the energy out that it was keeping it together. So I think it looks really, really cool. Um, yeah, I like this sketch a lot more. I've got some of these lines here that shows like all the energy swirling around and, kind of like about to like burst and release all of its energy, which looks really, really cool. Um, so why don't I show you the final illustration? I also made this background here, which is just reminiscent of the Pokédex entry background, like in Sword and Shield. When you get a new Pokédex entry, it shows like this red background. So I just created this background here, and then kind of like dumbed the darkness down, so it's not as like bright. So if I just show you the Gmax form, here we go. This is a Gmax Electrode. I've even got like the little clouds on top of here. I've got this like light just bursting out, and the shading on this one was actually quite difficult to do, as not normally, you don't shade things from the inside, right? So it was a little bit tricky to figure out, but I think I did a pretty okay job. I think it looks like a Gigantamax form. I think I could do the shading a lot better. Even though Electrode is very simple, it's basically just a sphere. Trying to like shade a sphere inside another sphere, especially at this angle, is quite difficult. But I think it turned out pretty alright. For my first like Gigantamax form that I've designed, I think it looks really, really cool. And the lore and inspiration behind it, I think, is also really interesting, uh, giving it a little bit of a deeper lore and playing on Electrode's, explosive nature. Um, so why don't I tell you the Pokédex entry that I had written for Gmax Electrode. Gigantamax Electrode, the babushka bomb Pokemon. After consuming max mushrooms, an electrode imbued with Gigantamax energy increases in size while generating copies inside of itself. This simultaneously intensifies its explosive power on par with that of a nuclear detonation, known as Gmax Meltdown. So I do think that's a really cool Gigantamax Pokédex entry for Electrode here. Um, Let me know, do you like it? What would you have written? Because my idea of what's inside an Electrode is kind of like a core, which I've shown here, which houses all of its kind of like its kind of sentience, I guess you could say, that's keeping it together, imbued with like magnetism and kind of stuff like that that gives its life basically, and it uses that core when it Gigantamaxes to basically increase its explosive power. So I was thinking, when it's creating copies of itself, it's also doubling its explosive power. So the more copies it makes of itself, the more explosive its power becomes, and that's why it gets to the point of a nuclear explosion, and that's why I called it Gmax Meltdown. I also came up with an idea of when it uses this move, it has a 50% chance of either burning or paralyzing you, which is interesting because obviously an explosion, it's quite fiery, and it's there's a lot of fire and smoke, and a lot of heat that's associated with it, and also what do you call it? Paralyzing. That's it. It paralyzing you because it's electric, or it could be poisoning because obviously of nuclear and radiation poisoning. So it's a little bit flexible, but I'm really, really, really happy with the way this turned out. I love when you have an idea and you take it out of your head and you put it onto a page, and then it comes out exactly how you wanted it to come out. Because I really wanted to have Electrode being opening itself and then showing all of like the copies inside of itself, and then the core in the middle. Um, and obviously have the clouds and everything, and have it like absolutely like in mid explosion, which is what I've got here. As if it's like just unscrewed itself and it's popped off its tops, and you can see the other like copies inside of itself, which is interesting. Um, and it's not too busy either. Like I said on the other sketches, there was like I had a third layer and then the core, but I thought that's a little bit busy, and you can get the concept of what I'm trying to go for here. Um, in this illustration, the final one, rather than kind of trying to overdo it. You know, you don't really need three layers of this to get the idea of, oh, it's making a copy inside of itself, because you can read the Pokédex entry, look at the illustration, and kind of like see what I was going for. So I really hope that you enjoy this, and give Electrode a little bit of a chance. Yeah, it might not be the best Pokemon, but I think all of them deserves a little bit of love, at least somewhat. And I do find Electrode quite funny. I've never actually used Electrode in a playthrough or casual play or even competitive play. And like I said, I really enjoyed False Web Gaming's video on Electrode, and I just thought, man, Electrode doesn't get enough love, does he? So I wanted to give it some love, and instead of making a Mega Revolution, I thought, why not go with Gen 8's new feature of Gigantamaxing, because Dynamaxing would just be a big Electrode. So, and Gmaxing is a little bit more interesting. And try something a little bit new and different, and trying to challenge myself a little bit by trying a new shading style, kind of like that, because it's actually surprisingly difficult. But I hope you enjoyed Gmax Electrode. Let me know whether you like it. What other ideas would you have for Gmax Electrode? And yeah, so thank you very much. If you've gotten to the end of the video, don't forget to give it a like, comment, share your ideas with me. Let me know if you want me to make more Gmax forms, or whether you prefer the Mega Revolutions. Let me know, because I actually quite like making Gmax forms now that I think about it. It's a way to kind of like change up the design of Pokemon, and make them a little bit more interesting, rather than their base forms. Like for example, Electrode here, it's basically just a circle or a sphere, isn't it, with a face on it? But this way, I've actually taken that concept and kind of made it a little bit more interesting and more visually interesting to look at, and also give a new kind of Pokédex entry that also plays off its best feature of exploding. So let me know about that. So thank you, and I'll see you next time. Bye! Hey there, thanks for watching. If you like what you see, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share my work around. I'll see you next time.